A very good afternoon to all our distinguished guests. My name is Giwei and it's my pleasure to be your MC for today. Welcome all of you to the start of Deal Friday at ITAP 2021. Now we've got an exciting lineup of events for you and I'll be going through this in a bit. First off, we're going to invite Mr. So Ling Wan, Assistant Chief Executive Officer, Manufacturing and Engineering Group from Enterprise Singapore to address us. Following which, we will then move on to the soft launch of LET Incubator before going into fundraising pitches of 9 of our local I 4.0 related startups. The event will then close off with a networking session as shown on screen. So without further ado, let us put our hands together to welcome Mr. So Ling Wan on stage to give the welcome address. Ling Wan, please.
Testing? Yep. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really been a while since we have such a large scale in-person industry event, and ITAP 2021 is really a momentous occasion to bring everyone, the startups, the investors, our partners with a common interest and passion for Industry 4.0 together, to witness and celebrate the milestones that our players in the I 4.0 ecosystem have achieved, despite the very challenging environment. And for this afternoon, we will witness the soft launch of LET Incubator and participate in the exciting Deal Friday session. Let me just say that the I 4.0 movement has been gaining momentum in Singapore in the past few years, as more companies now realize how the digital and physical can and will converge in every industrial sector. And with the current COVID-19 pandemic, I think early adopters of I 4.0 would have been more likely to enjoy the agility, flexibility, and manufacturing efficiency to cope with supply chain and manpower disruptions to their manufacturing operations. As such, instead of taking a pause in the I 4.0 manufacturing transformation journey, amidst this COVID-19, I think it's important for companies to actually double down on their efforts and emerge stronger from this crisis. It is our intent for Singapore to be a resilient, advanced manufacturing base in ASEAN. And it is a whole of government effort to support companies in Singapore in their I 4.0 transformation journey. And to help companies determine where and how to start this journey, EDB has rolled out the Smart Industry Readiness Index. The Workforce Singapore Industry 4.0 Human Capital Initiative, or IHCI in short, equip companies with people, management, and job redesign skills for the I 4.0 transformation. At Enterprise Singapore, we have supported over 2,300 transformation projects in the manufacturing sector just from January to August 2021 this year, a 73% increase in the number of projects as compared to the same period last year. Just this morning, the Precision Engineering Industry Digital Plan, a roadmap jointly developed by IMDA, Enterprise Singapore, and SPETA to guide PE firms to understand their business digital maturity, was launched. And with this new plan, we can expect even more local SMEs to undertake digitalization projects. As we see increasing demand for I 4.0 solutions in Singapore and globally, we also want to grow more solution providers and encourage new entrants to deliver new products in domains such as AI, IoT, AR/VR, robotics, and additive manufacturing. As such, we are excited to work with partners like LET. Established in Israel, LET is an I 4.0 incubator and innovation lab and has supported more than 150 startups since 2017. LET's parent is Ultra Clean Holdings, a global manufacturer and supplier of semiconductor equipment. LET Singapore will offer an incubation program and test bidding opportunities for early stage startups, and selected startups will be offered access to LET's facilities and partner networks. Given LET's track record and I 4.0 expertise, Enterprise Singapore is delighted to partner them in our efforts to grow the I 4.0 community in Singapore and boost the local advanced manufacturing ecosystem. And I thank Edmond and his team for having confidence in Singapore and congratulate them on the soft launch today. In nurturing a vibrant ecosystem, it is also important to help startups secure their next stage of investment. Since the launch of Deal Friday by Enterprise Singapore in 2019, we have facilitated over 650 connections between startups and potential investors and corporates. So similarly today, Deal Friday this afternoon is a platform for our local industry 4.0 startup investors and corporates to forge investment deals, co-innovation opportunities, and business partnerships. And I'm proud to have 9 of our own promising I4.0 startups here with us today. Despite the various challenges during COVID-19, these startups have continued to display resilience and growth. They have made significant preparations to show all of us what they have in store, so let us look forward to their fundraising pitches later. Growing the I4.0 ecosystem involves all of us, the government, large corporates, investors, startups. All of us will come together in order to ensure the success of the local ecosystem. And Enterprise Singapore looks forward to working with all of you, in particular with new partners like Lab Singapore. Congratulations once again to UCT and Lab on the launch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lingwan, for that sharing. Next up, we have Mr. Ekman Parat, CEO and Head of Industry 4.0 Lab of LED Lab, to share about their plans and programs with us. Ekman, please.
Thank you so much. Let me just put this here. So my name is Egmont Porat. I'm leading an innovation arm called LED Lab. I actually flew all the way, did many tests, right, and quarantine and everything to give you this slide. Right? Our vision is to invest in Singaporean entrepreneurs in the deep tech industry. Okay, we want to shape the future together with entrepreneurs here from Singapore, and we're going to invest in them and help them grow together with a real parents, a real manufacturing company. That's the main mission I wanted to give. So let me tell you who is it we and what is it that we want to give. So as we mentioned, we are the innovation wing under UCT. UCT is a global, one of the fastest growing OEMs of gas boxes for the semiconductor and ultra clean industry, displays and others. We are located in more than 17 countries with manufacturing facilities who are a real playing ground for the entrepreneurs, right? We have more than 6,000 employees worldwide, and we are a very strong player in the semiconductor industry. What we do, as mentioned, is the full gas box, design and manufacturing from the small component, metal component, all the way to the gas box, and post-services from cleaning and coating and other locations. In Singapore itself, we have a very strong presence. Why did we decide to open an innovation lab here in Singapore? We already operate an innovation lab in Israel, capital of innovation. Why Singapore? Well, Singapore is very important for us. It's an Asia center for us. Our chief operating officer of all UCT sits here in Singapore because this is how important the operation is here. We have thousands of square feet manufacturing rooms and clean rooms and facilities to help the startups and find the innovations. And many of our customers sit here as well. So this is a little bit about UCT Singapore. We also have the head of the industry 4.0, Jaya. He's here as well. And it allows us to work together with the startups and fields that are strategic interest for us, with the right people in the right location. A little bit about our experience. So I mentioned we already operated a lab. We have experience in building communities from the events, relationships. It's people, everything is all people. But we have the experience already in Israel and working specifically in the field of Industry 4.0, investing in companies in the field of robotics, AI, flow, augmented reality, and And also the people who are running the labs, usually, like myself, are entrepreneurs themselves. Know the startup, know the entrepreneurs, know what is driving them, and we can help them. And our statistics for the startups helping them is bigger than others because we usually connect all the startups that you see here. We connected their first customers. We help them with advice about what is the right product market fit. We map the industry. This is a map we did for Israel. First of all, this is the map of all the startups. And there are some insights that we can take out of it, but this is not the point of the talk. The point is that we map the industry. Having an innovation lab is basically going to build an ecosystem, and we are calling here for partners as well in the launch. Right? It's from the startups themselves all the way to enablers, from VCs, technology enablers. I already saw here companies like ST Micron or Microsoft or Amazon. We are going, and we did it in Israel as well, partnering with a specific technology, academic institute, anything that can support the startups and the entrepreneurs, giving them credits on the cloud, giving them robots, giving them hardware to run on it. So part of building an ecosystem here in Singapore means that we will go ahead and start signing agreements with potential partners. And we're calling here for partners. Please join us. Please contact us. We already started to map a little bit of Singapore's ecosystem. We definitely noticed that there are a lot of supporting and funding industries, right? And there's a lot of enablers, which is great. We still didn't enter in Singapore, and I imagine this map is lacking a lot of startups that are already here in Singapore. And I'm using this launch to call you, contact us, add us. You know, we want to add you to this list. We want to continue and find solutions that would help you and partners that would help you. Okay, and I'm calling the supporters and enablers to engage with us and partner. Why startups, okay? And why should us as a corporate work with startups? Startups, they love risk. They really love risk, okay? They pivot fast. They run fast. But they definitely require a strategic partner. They want to understand how their customers are really going to use their products, how much they're really willing to pay for it, how much of a big pain it solves them, okay? And they cannot do it alone. They have to have the corporate, which usually doesn't like to work with startups. On the other hand, corporates, they dislike change. They don't like innovation. Don't change what I'm doing. I run this machine X amount of time, don't bother me. Okay, they don't like changes, corporates. But they need to see what's the outer trends. Who's going to kill them? Who's going to eat them? Right? They need to be focused. How can they be more attractive and provide more value for their customers using the startups? And we have vast expertise, and we have access to the network, so we can work together. Specifically, the value proposition that we offer the startups is, first of all, have a strategic partner, somebody that cares about what you're doing and can guide you, okay, and can help you expand. Secondly, the technological support. We have a playing ground, a real playing ground with labs, with engineers, with expertise in the specific domain area of that startup, right? And we can help as well from advice and from parts. And then we have access to the network. We have customers, we have suppliers. When a startup goes to a company, a large corporate, they fear from the small startup, as I mentioned before. But if a large corporate comes to them with a solution, it's better. So they're using our credibility as well, and that helps the startup. Now, we provide value for the startups right from the start, because we examine a variety of ideas, right? And then we are working with champions internally that evaluate those ideas, because how do we know if an idea is good or not? We want the internal champion, either from our company or sister company or supplier, to tell us if this is a good solution. How is it good? When the startup, we invest in him, would somebody support him later, would use this technology? This is good both for us and both for the startup, and it's part of the due diligence. Eventually, along the time, we will evaluate the team, we'll evaluate the technology, we will evaluate the uniqueness, and we'll reach terms and agreement and write a deal. Right? Checking the team, the technology. This is what we're looking for in general. The point of the slide is that we're going to see in the top much more startups than we'll see here. And the startup passing through it gains it, because he wants to show to others, and I'm sure here in the pitch you will see pictures of startups in real environments. And he gets that the startup even if we don't invest in him. So it provides value for startups right from the start. What is it that we're going to invest in? Okay, I don't want to talk a lot about it because the future is unclear, right? And a lot of the areas that we started to invest in were the future 3 years ago, we now see them common here, from vision, robotics, AI, and so on. But we're going to invest in anything that is deep technology that we can implement both in our manufacturing facilities or for our customers. Okay, so it's usually going to be a high barrier entry where we can provide value for the startups. So if we can provide value, hey, let's use our lab, let's use our clean rooms, we can evaluate your thing, then it's relevant. If it's, let's say, I don't know, gaming, going completely away, how can we help you in gaming? So we cannot. Okay, we have some time. I wanted to show you some examples. What we're seeing here is the entrepreneur. We're seeing the facility manager of this specific building, the guy who's usually giving instructions and teaches new employees how to operate this, multi-million-dollar machine, the CNC, and then there's the operator itself, the regular operator. And we have the chance to see what the real people are saying about the solution. The person who's giving the instructions and tutorial, can he actually use this technology? What does he think about it? And the startups, this is completely valuable for him. He came from the industry, but completely different. He wants to see the value inside the real people. I want to show you another example of two physicists. Okay, a lab can also forge ideas. Many people think about startups as something that existed, they raise $1 million and then they start. But it's not true, right? Idea starts with zero money, long work, hard work, then little bit money, then long work, hard work, then little bit money, and it's always difficult. And what we see here is two physicists working on a problem, which is those control valve, especially you know this from Jerome Island and other locations, when they malfunction, you go ahead and fix it, right? But then there's huge damages. A factory can blow up. There's $1 billion of damages every year from oil leaks in other locations. And this startup, they got the valve. They're called Phononia. Okay, so they are, just like photons are for light, phonons are particles of sound. And they're using sound on the edge, right, to see inside the valve and have AI on the edge analyze it. And it's just like you're having an expert in the field. They want to tap this $80 billion market of monitoring those valves. Okay, today everybody's sitting and having an AI and putting their electronics, and a human, not AI, real eye, is analyzing it, right? It's going to be replaced with solutions like Phononia. And that startup started with nothing. It started and went up. It started with a problem. We gave them tools from STMicroelectronics. We gave them valves from a refinery and said, prove a concept. We're not going to pay you even for it if you want. But if you prove the concept and it's working, then you might maybe get another $300,000 and then let's start building it. And we'll help you with the first customers. That's what we did with them, and they already implemented it in a refinery in Israel. And suddenly now those valves get knowledge, state of the art eventually, because it's active acoustics with AI in the edge to analyze them. The customer and the network were happy to utilize this technology, and we were happy as well. Here's some more examples. This is an AI company, Vision for Robotics. What they're doing is providing with a simple camera, very cheap camera, 3D imaging solution. Okay, it's different from what you're going to see in the future, has different needs. We're using it for bin picking, or to see how it comes out from the factory, or put parts inside the machine before vision was popular in there. What you saw in the video, I think this video here, what I think is nice about it is that you see the workers. You see the entrepreneur working with their robot inside the factory. What are they thinking of, right? What bothers them? Is the fear of robotics really true in the worker or not? We have the opportunity to ask the worker, I'm taking this video, and later on I talk with these guys. And the entrepreneur can really, does it work with oil? Does it work with this lighting? Does it work with a variety of other solutions? And I think this is a good explanation. This is an example of a startup we forged, okay? So we have a need an actuator for the semiconductor market. We know there's a gap there. We worked with entrepreneur. We actually only this month they started to get funding. In the past year, they worked on the complete concept, 3D printed the parts, proved in our labs that it's working, convinced internally that, hey, we would want to use it, and only then we went ahead on it. Summarizing, we're launching a lab here in Singapore because we believe in Singapore. We have a very strong presence here. This could be a gateway for us to Asia. We believe in the Singaporean entrepreneurs. We've been working closely with Singaporean entrepreneurs for several years. Partner with us. We're going to build a very strong Industry 4.0 ecosystem here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Egmont, for that insightful sharing. And to all in the audience, please feel free to connect with Egmont and his team during the networking session if you're interested to find out more about LED Labs program. Now it's the segment that we're all waiting for. It's finally time for the startups fundraising pitches, and we're going to start that very, very shortly. But before that, please let me explain some of the ground rules. Each startup will be given 3 minutes to deliver their pitches. At the 2-minute mark, our friendly assistant at the back will raise a sign to prompt the speaker that they're only left with 1 minute. A second sign will then be raised when the time is up, and then the mics, unfortunately, will have to be cut. Following which, we will open the floor to a 2-minute question and answer. So we seek everyone's cooperation and understanding to keep to the presentation time. Investors and corporates, this will be a great opportunity for you to participate and ask any questions that you may have for the startups. I now have the pleasure of inviting our very first presenter on stage, who is Mr. Daryl Lim, co-founder of Augmentus. Augmentus is an AI robotics software company that offers easy-to-use industrial robotics technology for easy and rapid. Daryl, welcome you on stage, and you may start the presentation whenever you're ready. Let's give a round of applause to Daryl, please.
Testing. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daryl, co-founder of Augmentus, a pioneer in easy and rapid robotic automation. So prior to starting Augmentus, my team and I spent years developing and deploying robotic solutions for large multinational companies. And that is when we realized about the key problem statements around robotics. Very difficult and very heavily fragmented. Expensive experts are needed to program these systems. Different robot brands have different programming languages. 3D models are not often available or accurate to real-life components. And changes in robot setup requires adjustments by experts that take 2 to 4 weeks on average. And this results in close to 70% of the cost of robot ownership lying in software and integration. So that is why my team and I came together to build Augmentus, which is a robotic platform that enables non-technical users to program these systems in minutes instead of what would normally take weeks or months. So as you can see, instead of using CAD files, the user can just 3D scan the entire environment within a matter of seconds to generate a very accurate digital twin of the robot cell. After that, the user selects the surface they would like the robot to operate on. In this application, it's going to be a sending application. And within a matter of seconds, the complete robot path and trajectories are automatically planned for the user. So it completely eliminates the need for coding, teaching, and 3D models with regards to robotic programming. So prior to Augmentus, this process would normally take around 3 to 4 days, but as you can see, we did it within a matter of minutes. So we do have patented proprietary technologies around fully automated robot programming, such as auto path generation that you saw earlier, auto calibration, which allows very accurate simulation to actual robot motion in a digital twin environment, AI Builder for customized AI inference model building for dynamic and machine vision-based applications. But that's not all. We do have multiple different technologies around 3D scanning, robotic kinematics and algorithms, as well as machine vision and machine learning to generate very easy and fully autonomous robotic automation. So what Augmentus has done is we have enabled 17 times faster deployments compared to conventional robotic solutions. And we price ourselves based on a yearly annual subscription model. We have seen 80% gross margins and an average sales cycle of around 54 days as well. Our go-to-market applications are on surface treatment and material handling. And the market for this is huge. It's $16 billion across the world for robot programming software. So we have seen significant commercial traction since our first deployments in Q3 of 2021. So you see notable companies such as ST Engineering, Abrasive Engineering, MTech, Robotnik, Johnson & Johnson, Fujitsu using our platform. And we have pipelined 270 licenses for around an annual recurring revenue of $1.6 million USD. So we are raising a USD 5 million to expand across Europe and Japan and scale within our current clients. And so we hope that you'll join us in making robotics simplified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daryl, for that insightful sharing. We will now move on to questions and answers. Are there any questions from the audience for Daryl?
Yes, so we actually have, so Fujitsu is using us for QA/QC in their electronics. So like their scanners, their printers, and their electronic device in the semicon space as well. So the robotic kinematics all exist on the iPad. So something that usually amazes our clients is that we don't need an external PC or server. Everything runs on the iPad itself. So it's very portable, very easy to use. But for the machine learning, to train the model, the iPad is not sufficient. So you need a server that has GPUs to train the inference model. So that is the only aspect that you require an external system. Thank you for the questions.
Future business model and revenues.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Can you tell a little bit more about your business model and expected revenues in the future?
So the Augmentus platform is priced on an annual licensing model. So the hardware cost is fixed, it's around USD 3K. The annual license is costing around USD 6K per year per robot system. So we usually scale within our marquee clients like aerospace industries, automotive, and electronics. And that's how we will be scaling across the world. And it's really through this annual license revenue. We do have optional add-ons as well, like the AI model, the different algorithms for different applications, and so on. But the crux of most of the license will come from, most of the revenue will come from the annual license. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any more questions on the floor? I think we have one more question, the last question from the gentleman. Can we pass the mic? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So what's the competitive landscape like?
That's a very good question. So there's different technologies to program robotic systems today. There's a teach pendant, there's offline programming environments like RoboMaster and so on. Where we come in the picture is that we offer disruptive solutions around rapid digital twin creation through 3D scanning that no one in the market has. Autopath generation that allows for instantaneous robot trajectory planning that no one else in the market has as well as a fully integrated AI builder system as well. So while there's different solutions for different problem statements, where we come in the picture is that we really solve around clients that require easy to use and complex applications. Like surface treatment is a very big one. Material handling is another big one as well. So it's a very untapped market and undeserved, under kind of service market as well. So that's where we come in the picture. And a lot of the big companies like Rolls-Royce, like that you saw at ST Engineering, these companies, they require a much easier operational process when it comes to robotic automation. Yeah.
Thank you very much for all these questions. Now, for those who still have questions, don't worry about it. You still have a chance to ask the startups these questions at a networking session later on. So please just be patient with us because we do have to go through quite a few pitches today. So next, we'd like to welcome, thank you very much. Next, we'd like to welcome Mr. Samuel Tan, CEO and co-founder of WOG Industries. Now, WOG Industries is a solution provider for IIoT technology for manufacturing operations, helping manufacturing companies improve their overall equipment effectiveness. Samuel, the stage is all yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sam from WOG Industries. We make Fitbit for machine and Lean Ops in a box. So we actually have product market fit already with more than 3 million sold and thousands of machines connected. The problem we are trying to solve is really this. How can we make manufacturing opportunities be captured? Right? When I was in McKinsey, a lot of time was spent on improving OE. And if you think about it, moving from 40 to 80% means doubling the output. Right? But digitalization has been difficult. Very often it's high risk, high complexity, and costly. So we solve it by simplifying it to the first principles. If you think about it, the Fitbit for machine is really tracking the steps, the heart rate, and sleeping patterns. And we deploy it across the entire shop floor. We use analytics and software to pull out the top issues that if you fix today, can move the needle for the whole plant. Our market we serve is huge. Right? Of course, your eyes might be catch to the big Fortune 500 logos. But honestly, if you look at the smallest logo, we just had a Kueh company came to us just now at the booth. Right? That is the one that tells us we are truly disrupting the market. We want to be the PC that disrupted the mainframe computers, the Wikipedia that disrupted Britannica. We have a global ambition. Of course, we are based in Singapore. We serve Southeast Asia with offices here. But really, we ship globally. In fact, just last week, we sent a team to US to deploy on Lipton tea producer. The market, if you look at the top down, is huge. It's huge in the orders of nearly trillion. Right? But when you look at bottom up, it's where it gets really exciting. All of the market that we have talked to, the companies that have decided to implement and deploy, we're actually capturing more than half of the market share. And we can do that only because our product is scalable. Right? If you look at the Y dimension here, we are not selling a hardware component. What we are offering is ops insight to COO at the highest level. And if you look at the X dimension here, what we are trying very hard is to have the laser focus to be a product company and not a service consultancy. And that's the only thing that can make it really scalable. We have re-engineered the IoT from ground out such that it can be self-deployed by customers. Our customers onboard via Zoom and deploy within minutes onto the machines. But really what's more important is the software behind that help us to capture the market. What we are really doing is codifying the best-in-class human analytics into software to achieve the economy of scale. And this is combined together, capturing huge value for some of our markets. We are seeing huge gains in productivities, in quality, and cost. And we know how to execute. We aim to have 2x to 3x growth year on year with a 70% gross margin, and every dollar that we spend on customer acquisition is bringing back $5. We have raised $1.5 million before COVID, and most of it still sits as cash, as inventory, and receivables.
Apologies for that. Yeah, your time is up, unfortunately, but don't worry about it. As mentioned, we can always have the Q&A sessions be an opportunity to address any burning questions from the audience, and we also have the networking session. So I do apologize for that, Samuel. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the Q&A session now. We'll limit this to 2 questions to members of the audience on the floor. And if you wish to ask a question, please just raise your hands and we'll bring a mic to you. Thank you very much. So over to the members of the audience on the floor, please.
So I get to continue? No, just kidding. But really, we are raising $4.5 million to accelerate growth right now. Right? So I just want to end with that.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, please. A mic for the gentleman in front. Yeah.
What's the valuation?
It's a very good question. I was told not to put it up front, especially in such a very open place. If you're interested, we are happy to have a chat.
How about a range?
A range? Well, in the last round, we are valued at about 7 mil pre-money. Today, roughly, we are looking at least 1.5 to 2x.
And revenue is about 500K plus, right?
No, actually more than that.
Okay,
more than that,
okay.
right? So we have actually last year revenue is at least 1 million, but actually we book deferred revenue. So industrial customers are very strange. They like to pay us for 3 years upfront.
Okay.
So it's a very good model. By the way, we have a booth just right behind. So if you're interested, you can see Yuhan over there waving. Feel free to connect and we can talk more.
Thank you. I believe we have a second question. Could we have the mic to? Can we have a second mic, please?
Sure. Thanks a lot for that. Just how do you differentiate yourself from the competitors, and actually what are the limitations in what you offer as well?
Okay, so I think when people talk about IoT, one of the things that they think about is taking a number from a machine and putting it on a chart. But what a lot of customers do not realize, and they only realize much later, is that that's only the step 1 and step 2. To get an organization to hit KPI improvement and gains at the plant level, there's actually a lot of steps more to go. Right? And that's where we actually streamline perfectly. From day 1, using the codified algorithm, actually applied it across that scale. Right? So I think that is one of the toughest things to do, to productize, because a lot of these are consultancy, Accenture, and people doing that. Right? So not many companies that actually can productize it at the scale we do. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much for those questions. Thank you, Samuel, so much for sharing with us. Can we give him a round of applause, please? All right, next up we have Mr. Amit Nanavati. the CEO and founder of Bralco Advanced Materials, which specializes in application research, product development, and commercialization of additively manufactured functional components using advanced metallic and magnetic materials. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Amit, please.
So when they talk is
Good afternoon to everyone. Bralco Advanced Materials is a engineered magnetic materials manufacturer of electromagnetics components, and what really excites me to go to work every day is that what we have developed has the potential to change the way electromagnetic components are manufactured and used. How we go about doing this is we have merged three technologies: material science, additive manufacturing, and machine learning. And we bring to bear all these three technologies into manufacturing electromagnetic components. What are these components? These are two types of products that we have developed so far, and we have already patented the composition and the process to manufacture these by additive manufacturing. The EMI shielding material is, wherever there is any electromagnetic component working anywhere in the world, including this room, there are electromagnetic waves coming out of those components. And those waves affect the devices nearby as well as human beings. And we have developed a product which is absorbing these waves. This is the first time this has been done. All the products that are commercially available in the market today are reflecting the waves. So it is just like passing the buck to some other device or other human beings. We are absorbing that because we are using magnetic materials inside them. And the main application for these products is in the defense, in radar applications, in stealth aircrafts, in aerospace, and every kind of electromagnetic device, including mobile phones and electric motors and whatever you can imagine in terms of working as an electrical or a magnetic device. The other product that you have developed is the magnetic cores, and here this is used in electric motors. The markets we serve are in manufacturing IoT, electric vehicles, road transportation, aerospace, cell phone towers, medical devices. This is just to show you how complex the current traditional manufacturing processes are for the cores as well as shielding, and how simplified we have made that by using additive manufacturing. Now, what is our competitive advantage? We have reduced the weight and the cost by 50%. Lead time is very short, high degree of customization, freedom of geometry, and most important to me, we have brought down the scrap from traditional 60 to 70% to below 1%, which is supporting sustainability to a very large extent. These are the projections. Our industrial scale manufacturing will be.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the presentations. Once again, we do apologize for the short amount of time we have, but we'd like to open the floor to the audience for questions and answers, please. Can we have a mic to the front row, please? Thank you very much.
Hi, maybe you didn't have time to cover it, but I'm curious to know what's your go-to-market strategy?
We are already selling to many manufacturers around the world. We have set up business development and distribution centers in China, India, and Canada. So we are already in the market. We are revenue generating. Our industrial scale production will start from January 2022. So we'll be exponentially expanding the production as well as sales. And we'll be revenue generating from first quarter next year and also profit generating from second half of next year.
Thank you very much for those questions, and thank you very much, Amit, for the answer. Do we have any more questions? We have time for one more question for this segment. Third row. Thank you very much.
Hi, given that you're going to be generating revenue and operation break even, so what kind of fundraising are you looking at this moment?
Yeah, we are looking to raise another $2 million to scale up operations in North America.
Thank you very much, Amit. Thank you for your time. Very relevant questions asked about go-to-market strategy and fundraising. Fourth in line, let's welcome Mr. Jiang Shu Tao, the CEO of Hiver Lab, which provides platform and solutions covering a range of latest technologies, including data analytics, AR, VR, MR, and cloud computing. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Over to you.
Thank you. Just testing slides. Okay, afternoon everyone. My name is Ender, founder of Hiver Lab, a local startup in Singapore who has been focusing on immersive technology over the past 6 years. We have been working with 100+ clients overall globally, and actually seeing the overall the growth of the industry, we believe that as a tech enabler, we have a responsibility to drive a lot more in-depth of industry evolutions and sustainabilities. So one of the key drivers of how do we improve the applications in industries related. So over the past decades, we also see that the industry has been driven a lot by the connected intelligence, like IoT sensors, data, analytics happens in the whole digital domain. But sadly speaking, most of the innovations happens in the digital domain, instead of the physical domain. So there's still a huge gap between how the data is being connected and how those data are being connected in the space. So if you look at the future, it will no longer just be an automation future. There will always be human involvement in this domain. So how can we help humans to be more relevant, to bring them more intelligence, helping improve the whole intelligence of human beings? So this is very all we want to drive. So we actually, our company has been driving the solution called Spatial Digital Twin to actually transform the whole facility management process end to end. Look at today's how it works. Basically, you have workers on space. They have to find and navigate themselves. They have to look at how the visual looks like compared with the real constructions. But meanwhile, all this dashboard has been shown them in the 2D format. But the future of Spatial Digital Twin will allow all this connected intelligence into the space for you to easily navigate in space, to find the locations, find the space, and also you're able to interact with machines, with transformations without any limitations, with any gaps. So we can see through all these information. And for us, what we've been working on is starting from the planning stage. User can really use the spatial toolkit to create a 3D layout. Eventually, they can bring all this data into the space. You can visualize how it's been built in the future, and also you're able to monitor the live data by a mapping process. It's actually well covered the whole facility management life cycle, from planning, from the qualifying, from the operation stage. For us, our solution has been also won the Rust Awards recently. So for us, we actually have a few key features, including the spatial planner, help you easily create a 3D space, and also map the data into the digital visualization template, and also we have the data warehouse. So for us, we've been working with 20+ projects over the past few years to drive the whole adoption from POC to all the operation level. And today, our strategy, including the whole maintenance service plus the whole open toolkits, the APIs will be opened in the future. Our core team, including the technical persons and also the co-founders, actually trained in human cognitive learning and also MNC experiences, 30 years experiences. And for us, today we are looking at our fundraising campaign at Series A level, backing and on track for $3 million of revenue. And this year, we feel that it's very promising we can explore this future with strategic partners together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for the sharing. We'll now open the floor to the audience once again for the questions, limiting this segment to 2 questions as per usual. Do we have any questions from the members of the audience?
Thank you, Ender. You mentioned just now that you are raising funds for R&D.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate a bit? How does that actually help the company further?
Okay, so for us, we believe that as we build more proprietary technology solutions, especially for the spatial editing technology and also the data mapping solutions, we're able to provide all these accessible solutions to the end user. They can immediately use it by working with them as a ISI end user or as a facility owner users. They're able to use all these low coding platforms to eventually do all these things by themselves. For now, we still go with hybrid mode. We provide them the solution, allow them to calibrate and improve it, but eventually we want to get the whole process to be low coding, fully managed by the end user. That's the R&D effort we're going to put in. And as of today, there's a very little very little players who are entering this spatial data mapping internet. For us, we call it spatial internet. It's the next generation of internet.
Thank you very much for that. We have time for one more question for this segment from any member of the audience today. Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next segment. Thank you very much for your time. Next up, we have InnoWave Technology, and the speaker will be Mr. Mike Pham, their Chief Technology Officer. Now, InnoWave Technology specializes in software designing for customized AI and I 4.0 intelligent automation solutions for the semiconductor industry. So without further ado, let's put our hands together to welcome InnoWave Technology.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Mike. I'm a CTO of InnoWave Tech. Essentially, we're an Industry 4.0 company that offers very broad-based AI solutions for customers' industrial digitalization and AI transformation. So at the very core, our core technology is our ability to very fast and quickly deploy AI methodologies and algorithm platform to do detection and classifications for all kinds of solutions and platforms. So with this, we have developed a very broad-based solutions and products divided into four classic categories, including artificial IoT, AI IoT, and data ecosystem, AGV, AMR automation, and also computer vision. So we started off as a consultancy company 4 years ago. In the 2 years that we were a consultancy company, we realized that with our engagement with our customers, that there is a very deep gap in a technological company that can deploy and develop AI solutions full scope for our customers. So customers, a lot of time, they have to deploy these solutions individually and in very narrow slices. So we find that there's a need to do this in a full end-to-end solution scope. And as such, we have transformed ourselves 2 years ago to become a technological company. So our value proposition is we combine our technology together with our deep industrial domain expertise to work very closely with our customers to understand their problem statements in order to embed ourselves in their organization to develop even more cutting-edge technology for them. We are also in the 2 years that we have become a technological company, we have received very high accolades and endorsements from our companies. These are MNCs in the semiconductor industry, and we have taken, for example, a kind of task that data analytics task that requires up to a week and transform and reduce them to a matter of minutes or just a couple of hours. So in the first year, we have a revenue of 1 million, and very quickly, beating our own expectations, we have reached almost 5 times that revenue. We're foreseeing ending this year is about almost 5M. And because of the current engagement with our customers, due to the market demand and this demand for our solutions, we are seeing that very conservatively that our revenue going into the next few years will be exponential. So over here you can see that just the last 2 years, our engagement with our different customers is growing very exponentially. But more importantly is because AI is a very deeply embedded technology, we are able to increase the number of engagement with each of these customers as well. They will repeatedly come back to us over and over again. So this is one of our IP. Together, what I want to illustrate here is we're taking our IP as the brain, which is the AI of the brain of applications, deploy them in various solutions, and all these solutions it can be in the form of AR glasses, in the form of AOI inspection machines, or AGVs.
That's all the time we have for the presentations. Once again, so we do apologize. But we'd like to quickly then transition to questions and answers from the members of the audience. Can we have the mic to the second row, please? Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi. What's the average sales cycle?
Sorry, sales cycle as in?
How long it takes to close a deal on average?
It really depends on what the scope is. So our products, we have from small scale products to a full smart factory solution. So if a full smart factory solution, we are talking about between 6 to 8 months just to close the deal. But if it's a standardized products that we already have, it can be anywhere within 2 weeks, for example. Yeah.
For the 6 to 8 months kind of project, what's the contract value like? In the hundreds of K or 50K or?
We are talking about 1 to 3M.
Per contract?
Per contract, yes.
Per year?
One single project. So of course there are maintenance
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we have one more question for the lady in the front.
Do you have any recurring revenue?
Yes, some of our products, one of the reasons why we are here is we are trying to expand aggressively into developing or productionize some of our solutions. And once those products are productionized, once the solutions are productionized, we will have a recurring model for them. Essentially, we also have an AR asset, a SaaS platform with a recurring model as well. Yeah. We are also working with some of our customers in a profit sharing kind of model. So for those profit sharing model, we will also have a recurring model.
Thank you very much for the questions. And thank you, Mike, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Up next, we have Mr. Lionel Lim, who is the head of operations for Transfer5. Now, Transfer5 is a company that provides long-range, safe, and efficient wireless, powerless network. So I'd like to hand over the time to you, Lionel, for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Lionel, and I'm from Transfer5. we are developing the world's first long-range, safe and efficient wireless power network. Our vision is to provide access to power to everyone, anywhere, at any time. Electricity has changed the world, but one thing remains the same. That's wires. 1/7 of the world's population still do not have access to power. Offshore renewables still remain extremely expensive. Smart nations are still dealing with cable spaghetti. The path towards Industry 4.0 is still limited by current wiring infrastructure. Over 60% of all industrial IoT costs goes into cabling and installation. Transify is looking to solve this by bringing down the cost up to 50% and deployment time up to 80%. Our solution is the very first in the world, being able to power IoT sensors without the use of wires and batteries, up to the range of 25 meters. That's being able to collect data real-time 24/7. We've earned over $200,000 in deployments with major MNCs. We have been awarded 1 patent for multi-device charging, also the very first in the world. Market potential is huge. By just converting 10% of the global sensor market, we are looking at $23 billion. Our sales pipeline has already engaged with Fortune 500 companies such as Bosch Rexroth, Asbill, and Schneider Electric. We're looking to raise $6 million US for product certification, to expand our team in marketing and sales, to engage with contract manufacturers for mass production. We can also kickstart IC development to address consumer electronics. Our team is vastly experienced. Reza has spent over 7 years in wireless power research at NUS. Ashish has led teams in engineering and marketing in National Instruments. Our technical advisor, Dr. Zhang Rui, is #1 in the world in wireless power research optimization. Dave is a serial entrepreneur formerly with Boeing, ExoStar. Chandranaya is currently heading AEM. In the future, cabling infrastructure for buildings, remote renewables will all come under wireless power technology by Transify. We will revolutionize the way we distribute power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lionel. Thank you for the presentation. We'll now move on to questions and answers. Do we have any questions from members of the audience, please? All right, if there are no further questions, then we will move on to the next segment. Thank you very much, Lionel, for your presentation. And if investors wish to connect with Lionel and his team, do remember that you can do so at a networking session right after this session. All right, 7th in line, we have Mr. Tan Yi-Jiet, Management Associate of Wavescan Technologies. Wavescan is an A-Star spin-off, specializing in microwave and millimeter wave IoT non-destructive testing sensors and AI-based analytics solutions. Over to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ijet, and I'm from Wavescan. Just in the 21st century alone, we see countless structural disasters taking many lives that could have definitely been avoided if there were more regular, more thorough inspections. And yet, despite the importance of these inspections, there are many barriers that remain for it to be more regular and thorough, both in mindset as well as in technology. In NDT today, you see that scanners need to be handheld and in contact with the surface, which you would imagine would be extremely difficult in many situations. At Wavescan, we envision a future where these inspections are easier to carry out and we have more informative results coming out of it. And as such, through a decade of research at A-Star and now at Wavescan, we have developed what we believe is the next generation of non-destructive testing technology. Non-destructive testing, or NDT, is to be able to assess the structural integrity of an asset without permanent alteration. Wavescan scanners are first of its kind, provide very high resolution, completely contactless, portable, and safe to use. It operates on electromagnetic waves, which allows for structural see-through inspections of embedded defects, and it can be integrated onto multiple automation platforms, such as robotic arms, climbing robots, and drones in the future. This was the slide I was mentioning about electromagnetic waves. We have only been able to build this technology with deep domain expertise within the team and strong support from A-Star and Enterprise Singapore. So thanks, guys. Since our incorporation 3 years ago, we have won more than $2 million in awards and grants, and we have raised more than $2 million in our seed funding round with many strategic investors on the cap table. In terms of traction, we have over 50 engagements with multinational clients, many of which have led to LOI signed as well as pilot projects, following which we also have 3 larger scale ongoing projects with HDB, L&Q in the UK, and ExxonMobil. And we're doing these projects to tackle common infrastructure and oil and gas use cases, such as the ones that are shown on the screen, including structural inspections, facade inspections, and water leakage detection. How are we going to make money? We're going to sell our scanners in a sales or subscription model in order to cater to the differing preferences of the wide range of industries that our technology services. Why are we here today? We are actually raising our pre-Series A round, looking for $7 million USD for many purposes. And we have been in talks and due diligence with some of the world's leading construction CVCs from Japan, Korea, and Indonesia. We're actually currently looking for a strategic lead investor. So what are you waiting for? It's time to take action now. Join us in our journey to make the world a safer place, one scan at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ITAP, for that insightful sharing. Do we have any questions from members of the audience? Can we have the mic, please? Andrew?
Have you all faced any regulatory issues in marketing this solution overseas, and how do you intend to address that?
To be honest, yes. So as you would understand, when it comes to electromagnetic waves, there's always some concerns regarding it. Our technology itself, it's completely safe for use. We know that from our lab testings. And we had to go through a lot of regulatory clearances for Singapore. And we understand that there will be further hurdles to face in the future. But we are very confident that we will be able to pass whatever regulatory clearances required for our products to be distributed in other countries.
Thank you, Lingwan, for the question. I think we have a second question from the gentleman in the second row. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. You've seen that your use case is very clear. So I'm wondering what kind of customers reject you and why?
I think when it comes to rejection of customers, it normally is when they propose a use case to us that our scanners are either just simply not developed enough yet to tackle specific use cases that are honestly quite impossible to do in today's time, or that the electromagnetic waves, the scientific technology behind our technology, is unable to do that particular thing. This would include use cases that require scanning behind metallic surfaces, because the scientific backing of electromagnetic waves is that it just cannot pass through metal. It's something that can't be solved even with advancing technologies. If you have any further questions regarding technologies, I'm definitely not the correct person in the company to be answering these technical questions. So please, maybe I can meet you afterwards as well, and we can exchange contacts.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions, and thank you, ITAP, for the sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Our second last speaker is from Western Robot, and he is Mr. Zhang Yanliang, the Managing Director and Chief Scientist of Western Robot. Western Robot provides total autonomous robotic solutions with ground UGVs, quadruped robots, unmanned surface vessels, and exoskeletons. I'll hand over the time to you, sir.
Hey, hello guys. This is Yan Liang from Western Robot. As you know, due to COVID-19, robots are increasingly deployed, such as for disinfection delivery. However, robot is expensive to own and operate. Safety is not guaranteed, and it's very difficult to find someone to deploy robot in tough environment. And carbon neutrality, sustainability is a big issue here. At the Western Robot, we don't target autonomous driving, warehouse automation. Rather, we target disinfection, moving, cleaning, as they share the common challenges. We developed something called a robotics toolbox to empower system integrator, vendors, and end users for the above robots. And to give an example, with our robot deployment toolbox, robot navigation toolbox, and the robot remote driving toolbox, a robot value can increase from 2K to 45K. And Western Robot, we have a very diverse portfolio of customers. The average order size is from 30K to $500,000. And as of now, most of the revenue from direct sales. We also see the robot as a service revenue increase a lot. For example, this is a typical service order with like a 2 years contract, and each month they pay us 2 to 3Ks. And these some examples, for example, COVID-19 mask detection in NUS library and in Singapore construction sites. And for patrolling, if we go to Garden by the Bay, you see our robot doing garbage collection there. It's really carbon zero emission. Okay, financial-wise, we have achieved like 3 million revenue over the past 20 plus months, and we have 10 million in the pipeline. This round, we are raising 6 million for post-valuation of 60 million USD. And why you should trust us? I have a very strong, coherent team adopting Scrum working style. Myself, we have like a global office thanks to ESG support. Myself, I study, work, live, incubate, invest in Canada, China, Singapore, USA. And personally, my first startup was acquired by US company in 2011. Since then, I invest a lot of deep tech companies. We are the first company in the world to develop a COVID-19 disinfection robot just 10 days after the COVID was confirmed last January. We shared the IP to the global company. Hopefully we can tackle the COVID-19 together. And I just keep some of the report. And we have like a global IPs protections. And one more thing. So our vision is accurate robot adoption. And our truly belief is engineer is a superstar.
I'm afraid that's all the time we have for the presentation, but you know, the networking sessions will be there for further sharing. Do we have any more questions? 2 questions from members of the audience, please. Yes, please.
Hi, thanks. Where are your current customers based mainly?
Most of them are Fortune 500 companies. I think 50% locally, 50% from the region.
Southeast Asia?
Southeast Asia and global.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. We have time for one more question from members of the audience.
Make sure you act fast because I have many offers on my table.
Amy, can you just describe how do you really differentiate yourself from competitors? Because there are many providers in this field.
Yes. I think we are the first company to develop this kind of robot toolbox in Asia, very frankly speaking. Because before I start a company, I fly 1 million kilometers per year to build my ecosystem. As you can see, before I start Western Robot, I already invest 10 plus robotics companies. Make sure when the day I start my own company, I have enough robot vendors to back me up.
Thank you very much for the questions, and thank you, Yan Yang, for the sharing. Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause, please. All right, we are finally in the last stretch. Our last speaker will be Mr. Hari Krishnan Nair, the CEO of Zuno. Now, Zuno is an AIoT company specializing in predictive analytics for industrial applications. Over to you, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. First of all, I'd like to say I'm thrilled to be here in person, to give an in-person pitch after almost 2 years. So my name is Harry. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Zuno. We're a Singapore-based startup, and I'd like to share a little bit about our product, Veritas, today. So, sorry to start off a bit gloomy, but as you all know, the climate crisis has been a looming threat for the past 2 or 3 decades, and the time for action was yesterday. So, as you can see, we're woefully off track when it comes to meeting the goals we set for ourselves 5 years ago, be it the 1.5 degree scenario, 2 degree scenario, or even 3 degrees. As a result, over 80% of developing countries and over 60% of Fortune 500 companies have made some form of commitment to reduce their environmental impact. And this number is going up day by day as we have more accords coming into place, agreements coming into place. But the big question still remains, how do you measure your carbon footprint? So us as Zuno came up with a digital innovative solution called Veritas. Now what is Veritas? Veritas is your organization's operating system when it comes to sustainability. It allows you to measure, analyze, report, and most importantly, reduce your carbon emissions across your organizational operations. We do this by seamlessly integrating across the value chain, be it from logistics and transportation, warehousing, manufacturing, waste management, as well as industrial operations and organizational operations. Say goodbye to your clunky spreadsheets and one-year-old data, because Veritas directly integrates with your ERP systems, automation networks, control networks. We get live activity data, performance data, to see if you're hitting your KPIs when it comes to sustainability. Not just that, we allow your data to work for you. Our AI engines are able to identify and provide insights into reducing your emissions by detecting anomalies, looking at your operations and comparing it with the industry standards. It's able to purchase offsets based on your industrial alignment, as well as do carbon footprint forecasting for the next 1, 5, 10, 30, and 50-year horizons to make sure we're powering you towards your sustainability goals. So the founding team, we're a deep tech startup based in Singapore. The founding team has over 10 years of experience working on industrial data solutions across various verticals from aerospace, manufacturing, oil and gas, all the way into retail and enterprise solutions. As far as our progress, we're currently in the process of closing our pre-seed round. We're slated for a pilot release of the Veritas platform by January 2022 and a commercial launch by May 2022. With that being said, I would like to take this opportunity to reach out for collaborations. So I'm mostly here today to look for collaborations, not for investments, across the manufacturing, energy transition, oil and gas, and private equity industries, so we can help you achieve your sustainability goals and get you closer to that net zero target. Yep, that's all I have today. Thank you for your time. My contacts are up here.
Thank you very much, Harry. Can we give him a round of applause, please? All right, we have time for 2 questions. We'd like to hand over the time to members of the audience. Yep, sure.
Hi, so let's say if I'm a manufacturing company and I want to implement this solution to my factory, do I have to go out and reach you, and then after that, do I have to go and find sensors and plug it in my machine, or how does it work?
Absolutely not. So the way we operate is there's several ways you can come up with the emissions. There's expense-based as well as other factors you can take into account. So we can even just look at your ERP systems to see your expenditure in certain areas, and also look at invoices and look at renewable energy certificates and so on. So even if you don't have the sensors, we're still able to do that end-to-end.
Thank you very much for the question. We have time for one last question for today, for the Q&A segment. Okay. Thank you, Anne.
What is your USP vis-a-vis some of your peers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as you know, the carbon management accounting area is a pretty nascent industry. There's a lot of players. So our original product that we had is a predictive emission monitoring system that plugs directly into industrial facilities. So we're serving a market that has limited visibility when it comes to things like integrating with your HR system or ERP. We're able to go a step beyond and go into the building management, sustainability, as well as control networks. So we can track your manufacturing, your yield, all that as well, in addition to just the accounting aspect of it. And we're also able to do direct Scope 1 reporting through our predictive algorithm. So you can replace your analyzers completely just using the software that we have.
Thank you for the question, and thank you, Harry, for the sharing. Can we give him a round of applause, please?